So in 2013, I made the decision to leave my full-time job, which was a college lecturer for sports and public services, and take the risk to then go and pursue what was my side hustle then, PTing, to then become a full-time physical personal trainer and run a boot camp. And to this day, it's probably one of the most important decisions that I ever made. So I thought it'd be cool to do this video for 3 reasons. Reason number 1 is because I wanted to share the journey and the risk that I took when I made that decision to leave the college and go and work for myself. Because I know there's a lot of people out there that want to do stuff but procrastinate on it. And if this can offer a little bit of inspiration for you to go out and get it, then we're winning. So number 2, I wanted to do a reflection piece for myself to look how far I've come in the time that I started that journey, which is just over 10 years ago. And I think this is important for you because it's important to reflect how far you've come. And hopefully by me doing this video for you, you might look back and go, man, look how far I've come. Or how far could I have gone if I showed up further? So number 3, look how cold my hands are. Number 3 is I wanted to show you or share with you what it took to make that business work, what I had to go through to make sure that we didn't lose the house and to make sure that I kept on providing for the kids. And it was a tough old run. So first things first, why did I leave the college in the first place? I joined the college in September 2011 and it was the stepping stone to leaving the military. It's what I thought was a decent position to come back into when transitioning from military life to civilian life. What I realised after 2 years of teaching though, is that it definitely wasn't for me. In fact, I would go as far as saying it's one of the worst jobs that I've ever done. What I come to appreciate about the educational system is that it's purely a business, bums on seats, establishment. There isn't enough in terms of driving the kids in the right direction, about progressing them, about developing them. It's bring them in, it's send them off. Plus a lot of the kids that were there just didn't want to be there. And the whole thing frustrated me. I went from an environment where people wanted to be there, wanted to show up, wanted to stay in the process to become a Royal Marine, to then going to college and all they want to do is get on it and start chasing girls or boys. It just wasn't in my environment. It just wasn't my job. I wasn't made to teach in that respect, in that environment. So why even take the risk? I remember sitting at my computer desk and I was marking a piece of work that was trash. There was no effort put into that work. And I felt in that moment the most uninspired, unfulfilled than I ever have in my life. So when it came down to it, I had 2 choices. 1 was stay unfulfilled and uninspired, or 2, go and find it from somewhere else. So I decided to do the latter. And I didn't know this quote at the time, but one of my good friends who I do jiu-jitsu with always says, rather a life of oh wells than what ifs. And if I knew that quote at the time, that's exactly how I would have summed up my decision to take that leap of faith, take that risk, leave my regular paycheck and go and see if I could create something of my own. So what were the standout risks that I was taking, leaving the full-time job and going to work for myself? Without doubt, the first one was money. I was flat broke. I took a massive pay cut leaving the military to come home. It was in the region of £18,000 a year. So when I come back, we were struggling straight away. With my side hustle, I was earning around 650 quid a month. And that was with doing boot camp twice a week and doing some PTs for like £15 an hour. Me leaving that job took away guaranteed money that was coming in, even as little as that money was. So the risk was huge. The second main risk was that I have never run a business in my life. I had no skills how to run a business. But I knew that the pain of staying in a job where I felt unfulfilled, that I didn't enjoy for the next 30 years, was far more daunting to me than going to work for myself. And I knew that I had a good work ethic. I knew that if I could get my head around some of those issues, that I could figure it out and make it work. So this is the really cool bit. Since me taking that risk in 2013, we went on to run that boot camp successfully for 7 years. We had over 400 members. In my first year, I took the business from £6,000 a year to £106,000 in a year. And I'm going to do another video on how I did that another time. Today, we've completely evolved. We've moved away from the boot camp. I'm a 2-time best-selling author. We've helped over 13,000 people with our 5-day challenge that we used to run. We've helped over 6,000 people with paid products to help men become more structured, routine, and systemized. We've run 3 seminars with nearly 100 men coming from all around the country to come and spend the day with us and develop us on that day. We run a successful podcast with over 10,000 downloads a month. And we still today successfully take men that are struggling to show up and reach their potential and completely flip that around for them to reach their ultimate potential and go on to become a top 1% high performer. So there are 3 key things. That was my display finger. Look at the state of it. There were 3 key things that I had to do to make sure that this business worked when I took the risk. And I'm going to share them with you now. So number 1 is no secret, but it's an unbelievable work ethic. I used to study on YouTube at least 4 to 6 hours a day. I'd watch videos, I'd watch the same videos. And that's because I knew I had to. The consequences of me not making this business work was losing my house and possibly being homeless when you think about it. So 4 to 6 hours relentless, working 18-hour days, working until my eyes bled. And that's what it took in those early days. So number 2 was just mental resilience. The number of times I failed, I cried, I buried my head under the blanket. I didn't want to get up. I wanted to quit. I wanted to fail. I wanted to kill myself. Just that sheer mental resilience to keep going got me through those tough times. And the last one was the mission, the vision, the direction. And it was always about overtaking the local competition to start with. It was always about getting past their growth and their status and then going, cool, done that, now what are we, what's our dreams, what's our missions, where are we going with this? And it was always having that, and that's always led me. And having direction and having a mission is something that has always kept me on path in terms of growth, progression. And without that direction, how do you know what the masterpiece is that you're trying to create? You don't. So I hope you've enjoyed this journey that I've taken you on. I think it's the first stage of something that was huge for me. It's the reason that I'm here filming with you guys now. It's, you know, it's kind of led on to the life that I wanted to live. And I'm going to do more videos on the journey of building the boot camp, of building this business, of why, you know, of what I wanted in terms of finding freedom, of time being my biggest value driver. Do you know what I mean? It's the thing that I want the most. And I just wanted to share with you, you know, the risks that were taken at the beginning and what it took to get through. And looking back at the results now, you know, I feel really proud of myself, and quite rightly we should when we do well. But it is hard work. There are risks involved. But I think that if I continue to procrastinate, I'll be a teacher of 11 years now, probably very, very unfulfilled and unhappy, having decided to have played it safe and stayed in that job. This video here really teaches about the first fundamentals of making goals and simplifying them. So for you, if you're looking for that fulfillment, you're looking for that driver, you're looking for that thing that you want to achieve and you want to overcome procrastination, this is a really great place to start. I really appreciate you watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the video if you got this far.